Muchas gracias por tenerme hoy aquí. Yo me llamo Lydia Morrison, Ombudsman con la Administración para la Compensación de los Trabajadores. Después de esta presentación, si tienen más preguntas, me pueden llamar a nuestra oficina de Las Cruces. También hay una oficina en Roswell. Hablamos de español y podemos atenderte del teléfono o en persona. Toda esta información es gratis y los trabajadores nunca tardan que pagar por los servicios que tenemos. Podemos ayudarle con cualquier cosa por la ley. Ahora sí, quiero tomar unos minutos a presentar información sobre que ustedes necesitan saber de la Compensación de los Trabajadores de Nuevo México. Voy a comenzar el presentar en inglés y si tienen más preguntas, otra vez me pueden hablar. Voy a comenzar. What is workers' compensation insurance? It's a no-fault insurance paid by the employer, not the employee. Now, this is going to be different from the assessment fee that you see in your check stubs of a workers' comp fee. I will go over that later. What does the Act apply and what does it provide? If there's 3 or more employees in a workplace, it covers full-time, part-time, temporary, or seasonal. That means if you were on the job for even 1 day, 1 hour, you're still covered. It does not matter the time. Benefits to the employer are exclusive remedy for them, no exposure to expense for tort claims, and it's a benefit for the return to work for workers. Benefits for the workers are a wage replacement if they're out of work due to their injury, but it has to be reasonable, necessary, and medical related to the work of the injury only. It's a quick benefit for them, and it's a return to work, hopefully very soon. So what are the employers' and workers' responsibilities before an accident? The employer is responsible for placing the Workers' Comp Act poster in a place where all workers will be able to read and see it on a daily basis. This could be located in the human resource bulletin board, a break room, a hallway where they pick up their checks. If it's an off-site location, maybe on a vehicle, anywhere where employees can view the poster. This is what it looks like. The middle portion right here is where the employer will put the workers' comp insurance information. This way, the injured workers will be able to view who the insurance is. Employers' responsibilities are also to have the workers report their injuries in writing and write who the healthcare provider will be and whose choice it is. So the employer can choose to have the initial choice in healthcare provider and send the injured worker to that doctor. Okay, and it also will seek that the worker will also get to choose. But they have to indicate that and inform the injured worker on the healthcare provider choice. Now, workers' responsibilities, they need to know where the notice of accident forms are located so they can report their injury. They need to read the poster that I just showed you. They need to inform the employer's insurance information. They need to know who that is, determine if the employer has a designated healthcare provider. So the injured worker needs to know if they have the initial choice or if the employer is going to send them to a specific place. What are the workers' responsibilities after an accident? Workers' responsibilities are to seek emergency treatment if necessary. So if they get injured on the job and they cannot wait for a claim number or the claim to be filed, they need to just go ahead and go to the emergency room, inform them that it's a workers' comp claim and it's pending and claim numbers and the claim is pending. They also have to notify their employer within 15 days of the accident or injury, but we recommend that you inform your employer the day of the injury as soon as possible. You always have to keep your employer informed, especially if you receive a work status of a work excuse or if you have a return to work with restrictions. It's important to inform your employer of those things. Communicate with employer, an adjuster, and the healthcare provider. Anytime you have a claim open, you have an adjuster assigned to your claim, and that adjuster will be approving all your medical and issuing benefits if needed. So the communication is very important. The notice of accident form is what the injured worker will complete. This is what it looks like. And again, the gray area here is where the initial choice in healthcare provider will be indicated by the employer. Okay, the employee will sign and date, and the employer will also sign and date, and the injured worker will receive a copy of this. Workers' compensation and intoxication. It's a drug and alcohol-free workplace, will help to prevent accidents from happening in the first place. So if employers have a policy in place of drugs, a drug policy, this will help the situations with the injuries involving intoxication. The New Mexico Law 52-1-12.1 provides for a reduction in a workers' comp indemnity benefits, and there's also a 10% to 90% to the degree of workers' intoxication contributed to an accident causing injury or death. So if you have if employers have a policy in place and something like an accident happens that has the cause of any type of intoxication of drugs, the 10 to 90% is applied. Employers cannot claim a reduction if an employer knew of an impairment but allowed worker to remain on the job. Employers do not have to follow a written drug and alcohol-free workplace policy if there's no policy in place. Does not affect medical benefits at all, and does not affect death benefits for survivors. Employers' responsibilities, again, very important, are to sign the notice of accident form, provide worker with a copy, notify workers' compensation insurance within 72 hours of the injury or as soon as they were notice of the injury or accident. Other responsibilities that the employer has is to provide workers with a copy of an E1. An E1 is an employer's first report of injury. Provide the workers with the name and telephone number of the workers' compensation insurance. Allow the insurer to claim administration company to accept or reject claims. That means the employers are not allowed to deny or accept any claims. They allow the insurance to do that. The employer cannot refuse to accept a claim. Employer is not allowed to administer claims or pay any statutory workers' comp benefits. Again, only the insurance can provide those benefits. What is the claim process? So again, the claim process, employers notify the workers' compensation insurance administrator, again, within 72 hours, receipt of the notice. Employers have to send a form which looks like this. This is the employer's first report of injury. And they need to provide the worker with a copy of this. Claims process, workers' compensation insurer or claims administrator investigates claims. If the worker is due wage replacement, benefits, insurer or claims administrator has 14 days from the 7th day of lost time to make the initial payment. Other compensable claims, it has to be an accidental injury occurring within the course and scope of employment, arising out of an incident to employment, natural and direct result of job accident, when the disability is unable to work, is a natural and direct result of the accident. Other benefits are medical. There has to be reasonable, necessary, related to the accident, treatment by an authorized healthcare provider. So that means an injured worker cannot go to an unauthorized healthcare provider. They have to go to the chosen healthcare provider that accepts workers' comp insurance. Other benefits are indemnity benefits, temporary total disability, which we abbreviate TTD. These benefits are eligibility. They begin on the 8th day of disability. Again, the first 7 days are a waiting period. There's no eligibility on the first 7 days. The injured worker the eligibility can use their sick pay, annual pay, or any other benefits that they have for the time off on the first 7 days. Paid at 66 2/3 of average weekly wage. Current weekly maximum for 2019 is $814.64. Permanent partial disability, PPD, after the maximum medical improvement of abbreviated MMI with an impairment rating. Duration of benefits depend on part of the body injured and percentage of disability. Workers' compensation benefits additional are mileage reimbursement for 15+ miles one way to a doctor's visit, meals, lodging, death benefits for dependents, funeral expenses. The max is $7,500. So the workers' compensation fees. Fee paid to New Mexico Taxation and Revenue Department using a WC-1 form, paid by employers who fall under Workers' Compensation Act. Any employer required to carry a workers' compensation insurance, any employer who voluntarily carries workers' comp insurance, or any employer or worker covered by the workers' compensation insurance policy, whether required or voluntarily. Other compensation fees are for the employer, $4.30 per employee per quarter, based on the number of employees on last working day of the quarter. $2 of the $4.30 quarterly is deducted from employees' payroll. So you will see a workers' comp fee of $2 quarterly for each employee. This is not the same as your insurance premium. The fee funds for WCA operations. It allows a workers' comp to provide free services. So what happens to a claim if it does not go smoothly? You would actually come to me, ombudsman in Las Cruces. There's also an ombudsman in Roswell, near the El Paso area, and anywhere in between. Okay. Our primary functions are, as an ombudsman, is to provide information and assist to all parties to a workers' comp claim, informally resolve disputes. An ombudsman, what an ombudsman cannot do, does not practice law or give legal advice, does not act as an advocate for any person, does not attend a mediation conference as a representative of a party, does not provide assistance to any party beyond mediation, does not provide assistance to a party represented by an attorney, does not discuss acceptance or rejection of a settlement offer or a recommended resolution with any person, cannot be called as a witness in a mediation conference, adjudication, proceeding before a workers' comp judge. What an ombudsman can do for you is provide assistance to any unrepresented party to a claim, explain parties' rights, responsibilities under the Workers' Comp Act, answer a party's question as they relate to the workers' compensation or a workers' comp claim, facilitate communication between parties to help informally resolve disputes, explain options if you have a dispute with a party to the claim, assist with the completing and filing of a workers' comp forms. The worker should always contact an ombudsman to help before it gets to this point, so we can try to help resolve the issue prior to the complaint process. So continuing on the complaint process for claims disputes that cannot be resolved informally, filing parties completes the workers' comp complaint. The complaint is filed with the workers' comp administration clerk of the court. Claim is scheduled to be in formal mediation conference. Recommended resolution is issued. If a recommended resolution agreed to by all parties, the complaint process is complete. If either party rejects the recommended resolution, the case automatically gets rescheduled for a formal hearing by a workers' comp judge. Other very important notes: employer may not retaliate against or terminate a worker for filing a workers' comp claim. And I do understand that a lot of injured workers are fearful of coming forward to report an injury in fear of being terminated. Know that there is a law against that. And to please come forward and ask for help. Employers, they do not have to hold and create a position for an injured worker. Employers may replace injured worker if necessary. Other laws may apply, such as the Family Medical Leave Act, which we call FMLA. This is the Americans with Disability Act, the ADA. This is where the employees can ask for the FMLA so they can save their position. Other important notes: workers must notify employer when released to go to work. If employer is hiring for it could be a pre-injury job or a modified work, the employer shall offer to rehire worker who has stopped working due to the workers' comp injury. Worker must apply for available position, just as if it was a new one. Healthcare providers must certify that the worker is fit to carry out a pre-injury or a modified work without significant risk of a re-injury. This concludes the presentation. I do want to show you that we do have numbers for each ombudsman and office located in New Mexico. Number for the Las Cruces office is 1-800-870-6826. For the Roswell office, it's 866-311-8587. You can also log on to Workers' Comp Administration website, and you can actually view all the Workers' Comp Act. And you can also, it'll provide you with a notice of accident forms, the posters, or any questions that you may have, or contact any office. Thank you again for having me. Have a good day. Thank you.
Gobierno de México.